Am I the idiot for wanting to leave my boyfriend for something his parents said? So, I am 26, female, black, and my boyfriend 32, male, white, have been dating for about 5 months now, and he is honestly the best thing that ever happened to me. He is the first guy who's ever made me consider marriage and starting a family. I did love him. Now to the story. Last weekend was his mom's 60th birthday and my boyfriend was gonna go to the birthday party. He thought it would be a nice occasion for him to introduce me to his family, so he asked me to join him. We let his family know that he was bringing me, and they were okay with it. His parents' place is 3 hours away from the city we live in, so we decided that we were gonna spend the night. So, we arrived at his parents' place and his mom, dad, brother and sister were there. They hugged me while greeting me and I honestly thought they were genuinely happy to meet me. It didn't feel like anything was off. They all seemed like nice people. So we spent the evening talking, and there was a lot of laughter, and everything was going great. At around 8 p.m., my boyfriend and his brother leave for the airport to pick up a relative of theirs who was flying in for the party. So I'm left at the house with his mom, dad and sister. I didn't feel unsafe or anything. They had been nice to me the whole time. I had left my phone charging in the room we were gonna sleep in, so I excused myself to go check if I had any important messages or calls. There weren't any, so it didn't take long. I start heading back to the living room, and as I'm walking back, I hear them talking. Then his mom asks, "So, what do you think about her?" I immediately knew they were talking about me, and I honestly wanted to know what my potential in-laws thought about me, so I stopped and listened. His dad says, "She's nice." His sister agrees with him and adds, "She's pretty too." Then his mom said something that immediately made me sick to my stomach. She says, "Yeah, if only she wasn't a foo **** king N-word." And they all agreed with her. My heart dropped. I tiptoed back to the room and I sat there so confused. I was shaking so much I didn't know what to do. I wanted to call my boyfriend, but I had a weird feeling, so I didn't. I felt so alone and unsafe. I felt like I couldn't trust anyone around me, not even my boyfriend. I live in Canada and people here are not as open with their racism as in other places. Which in my opinion, is much more scary. Now at that moment, the only people I could think of asking for help were my sisters. One of my sisters lives in the US, and the other one is in Canada but in a different province. They both live far away, so there is nothing they could have done to help me at that moment, but I felt like they are the only people I could trust. We have a WhatsApp group chat, so I sent them a message telling them what happened. I have lived in Canada for a couple of years, but it's not easy to make trustworthy friends here. Canada is a lonely place. I have met a lot of people, but I don't feel like any of them are my friends. If you are an immigrant in Canada, you probably understand what I mean. Anyway, back to the story. So my sisters were like, "You need to find a way to get out of there immediately." They tell me to make up an excuse saying I had an emergency and needed to leave. I stayed in the room for some time, scared to death. It took everything in me not to start crying. After I had collected my thoughts and calmed down, I did what my sisters told me to do. I hadn't unpacked my bag yet, and luckily, we brought my car because it's fuel efficient compared to my boyfriend's. I took my bag and car keys and passed the living room in a rush, saying something came up and I had to leave. I didn't give them a chance to ask any questions. I just got in my car and drove away. It was getting late, and I wasn't in the right state of mind to drive back home. I just wanted to get as far away as possible before stopping at a hotel for the night. My boyfriend had called me a couple of times. I called him back, but I couldn't bring myself to tell him what had happened, so I gave him the same excuse I gave his parents. He asked if he should come home as well, and I told him it wasn't necessary. I went home the next day and my boyfriend showed up at my apartment a few hours later. I looked at him, and it felt like all the love I had for him had just disappeared. Though I acted like everything was fine, I wondered if he was racist too. He had been so great during our whole relationship. I never once felt like he had any racist thoughts or feelings. But I can't help but think about how his family made me believe they were nice people, and I keep wondering if he's also just pretending to like me. We don't live together, but my lease is ending in July. He owns his place, so I was supposed to move in with him after my lease ended, but I have managed to get out of moving in with him. I don't feel like I love him anymore. It's been 3 days now since we got back from his parents' place, and I want to end things with him without it causing any trouble, but I'm really scared. I want to tell him what happened, but I'm scared of finding out that he's racist as well. I don't know how he's going to react. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but there are so many stories of women getting murdered by their partners, and I'm scared that I could end up killed too. I guess I'm imagining the worst-case scenario, and I'm judging him based on his parents' actions and not his. But I am genuinely scared. Even if he isn't racist, his family is. And if we stay together, no matter how much I try to avoid his family, there are still gonna be situations where I'll have to interact with them, and I don't think I can ever move past what they said. Please help. Now for a few comments before the update. You should talk to him and tell him what his parents said and how it makes you feel. If he cares about you, he'll say/do something to let his family know that language is not acceptable and that racism is not tolerable. However, you'll always think of what they said, and it may be hard to ignore now that you know what you know. Take some time to figure out if you still want to be in this relationship." Then the original poster responded with, "I will talk to him, but I don't think the relationship will survive. He and his family seemed close, so I can't ask him to cut them out of his life, and I don't think I can move past what they said. So I don't see how the relationship can survive." Then another commenter said, "You should tell him. At least so he knows that if he dates a WOC in the future, he better keep her away from his family. Yeah, it's not your job to educate him. I think it's good to end it by telling him the truth." Comment 2. "I'd talk to him first. I'm from the deep south and met my wife after I left home. The first time I brought her home, it totally didn't even occur to me that my family would be unappreciative of me bringing home someone who wasn't white. People aren't their families, but who they choose to make their own family." Now for the update. I couldn't keep up with all the comments, but 99.9% of them said to talk to him, and so I did. He didn't get all defensive or angry. He just listened to what I had to say, and we ended up having a great conversation about it. So, yesterday we went on a coffee date. Things were a little awkward at first, so as soon as we sat down, I just straight up told him what happened. I expressed how much it bothered me that he left me all alone with his racist parents without a warning and how terrified I was. He profusely apologized and said he would talk to them about it, and he swore he had no idea that his parents felt this way about black people. I asked him how he didn't know, yet he grew up in their homes. They raised him, so he surely must have heard some racist comments from them. He explained to me how during his childhood, all the people in his hometown were white. The neighborhoods were all white, the kids in his school were all white, and all his teachers were white. So race wasn't really a topic that ever came up in their home or school or anywhere he went. Everyone was just white. He said his parents have always been very kind-hearted people, and those were the people he thought he was bringing me home to. He didn't think that skin color was something he had to worry about, and it didn't cross his mind that he was bringing a person of color to a place that had only had white people. He was truly apologetic for that, and said he should have known better. Anyway, we kept talking and he told me about the first time he met a POC in real life. He was 19 years old, and he had just moved from his hometown to our city for college. He said he loved meeting people from different places with different cultures and backgrounds, and hearing about all their different experiences, which reminded me of when we first met. I thought he was really weird cause he would ask me all these questions about my culture and home country. He honestly had so many questions, some of which I didn't even know the answers to. I googled the population of his hometown, and according to the 2022 census, 93% of the population is white. So back then, during his childhood, it was probably 100% white. So, I have chosen to believe him because I guess he thought his parents would have been as open-minded as he was. Some of you might not agree with this decision, but I decided to give him a chance to prove himself before ending things with him. But I pointed out that if he plans to be with me, a black woman, he needs to understand that he cannot turn a blind eye to any discrimination I might face, including discrimination from his own family. I also told him I didn't expect him to cut ties with his family, but it's gonna take a while to salvage my relationship with them, and that I'm not yet ready to hear an apology from them. He agreed to this and promised to pay better attention, and reassured me that he was on my side. I don't know if he has already spoken to his parents, but this morning I woke up to an apology DM from his sister, and the dots connected. In her message, she stated that she was shocked to hear her mother's words and that she doesn't believe in that. She just agreed with her cause it was her mother, and she didn't know what to do at the moment. His sister is attending college in our city, so I had met her a couple of times before. Like maybe 3 or 4 times, so I'm thinking she was the one who gave their parents the heads up. She and I weren't that close, but the few times we've met, I didn't feel any hint of racism. We were always civil with each other. Anyway, I still haven't responded to her message, and I don't think I'm going to for now. I don't even know what to say to her. As for my boyfriend and I believe we and I had a meaningful conversation. I'm still not moving in with him, but I think we might be able to maybe work things out. We might not pick up where we left off, but I know we can get back to where we were if we both put in the work. Comment 1. Glad to see this update, and I hope honest communication can salvage this if it's meant to be salvaged, or to let you get out of this if that is what is needed instead. Comment 2. No idiots here, you're overreacting big time here. These were just some offhand remarks made behind closed doors, no need to be so dramatic about it. And you didn't even give your boyfriend a chance to stand up for you. I mean, how do you know he wouldn't have defended you if he knew what his family said? Instead, you just assumed the worst of him, bolted out of there without explanation, and are now considering breaking up with him because of a few words spoken by his ignorant family. He clearly loves you and sees you as a person, not a color, and it's a shame you're letting prejudice get in the way of a loving relationship. Love is hard enough to find without adding unnecessary complications. Maybe it's time to put your big girl pants on and face the world like an adult. Comment 3. My parents did this too. White people only in our town. I married a brown boy. We don't talk to them anymore. This isn't that uncommon. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.